Picture this: Hollywood, the land of sunshine and stardust cloaked in a thick shroud of smoke, flames licking at the iconic Hollywood sign, turning dreams into ashes. The air, usually buzzing with the excitement of aspiring stars, now heavy with the smell of burning dreams. This wasn't a movie set. This was real life, and it was a scene straight out of a disaster film. The world watched in disbelief as the City of Angels became a city of fire. How could a place seemingly so untouchable be brought to its knees by something so primal? This wasn't just another wildfire, not another news cycle. This felt different. It felt biblical. As the flames danced across the hills, they seemed to consume more than just trees and mansions. They devoured the very sense of invincibility that Hollywood projected. The world was being shown that even the brightest stars could be dimmed, that even the most glamorous facades could crumble. And it all started with a joke. The 2025 Golden Globes were supposed to be a celebration, a night of glitz and glamour, but amidst the flowing champagne and acceptance speeches, comedian Nikki Glaser took the stage. Known for her edgy humor, Glaser pushed the envelope, aiming her wit at a target some considered off-limits. God! The audience gasped. A few nervous giggles broke through the stunned silence, but the air remained thick with tension. Had she gone too far? Social media erupted, the court of public opinion immediately in session. Some praised her audacity, applauding her for challenging the status quo. Others condemned her irreverence, calling her act disrespectful and dangerous. Little did anyone know that this night of laughter would be followed by a very different kind of spectacle. Days later, the fires erupted, tearing through the hills with a vengeance. The timing felt too perfect, too eerie to ignore. Whispers of divine retribution spread like wildfire themselves. Had Nikki Glaser gone too far? Had she angered a power greater than herself? Of course, correlation doesn't equal causation, but in the aftermath of the inferno, it was hard not to connect the dots. Wildfires are nothing new to California. Every year, the dry, hot Santa Ana winds sweep in, turning the state into a tinderbox. It's a natural cycle, albeit a destructive one. But this time felt different. This time, the fires seemed to carry with them a sense of foreboding, a feeling that this was about more than just dry brush and strong winds. Could it be that we've become numb to the regular cycle of destruction? Every year, the news reports on the latest firestorm, the acres scorched, the homes lost. We shake our heads, send our thoughts and prayers, and then move on with our lives. Have we become desensitized to the suffering, both human and environmental, that these fires inflict? Perhaps this inferno, this gut punch to the heart of the entertainment industry, was a wake-up call, a reminder that we are not immune to the forces of nature, that even in our technologically advanced world, we are still at the mercy of the elements. But some saw it as something more, a sign that we had strayed too far from our moral compass. The fires ignited mere days after the Golden Globes, fanning the flames of a different kind of debate. Some saw it as a simple coincidence, a tragic but ultimately random act of nature. Others saw something more ominous, a message from above. Religious leaders, never shy about seizing a teachable moment, pointed to the timing as proof of divine judgment. They argued that Hollywood, with its constant pushing of boundaries and disregard for traditional values, had finally crossed the line. The fires, they claimed, were a stark reminder that there are consequences for mocking the sacred. "When you mock God," thundered one televangelist, his voice shaking with righteous anger, "don't be surprised when he strikes back." His words resonated with some, offering a sense of order in the chaos. If this was punishment, then at least there was a reason, a logic, however twisted, to the destruction. But others weren't so quick to buy into the narrative of divine retribution. They pointed out the inherent danger in attributing natural disasters to the will of a higher power. After all, if God was punishing Hollywood for its sins, what about the innocent people caught in the crossfire? Section 5, Hollywood's sins, pushing the boundaries too far. Hollywood prides itself on being edgy, challenging norms and pushing boundaries. From censorship battles to streaming wars, controversy is no stranger. Sex, drugs, violence, nothing is off limits for a good story or viral moment, but has this pursuit gone too far? Are we desensitized to shock value, losing sight of decency and respect? Some argue Hollywood's obsession has created moral relativism, where nothing is sacred and everything is up for grabs. They point to movies and TV shows that glorify violence and mock traditional values. Fires are seen as a wake-up call to reevaluate our priorities. Blaming an entire industry is dangerous. Hollywood is diverse, full of talented people making art. Painting it all with the same brush of moral decay is unfair and inaccurate. Section 6. Where is God's mercy? The plight of the innocent. The idea of divine retribution raises a thorny question. What about the innocent? If the fires were indeed a punishment for Hollywood's sins, why should ordinary people, many of whom have nothing to do with the entertainment industry, have to suffer? Families lost their homes, their livelihoods, their irreplaceable memories. Firefighters risked their lives battling the blaze, some paying the ultimate price. The environmental damage was catastrophic, with countless animals perishing in the flames and ecosystems destroyed. Is this the work of a merciful God? Does punishing the innocent alongside the guilty align with any concept of justice? For many, the idea that a loving God would inflict such indiscriminate suffering is simply untenable. The argument of divine retribution often fails to account for the complexities of real life, the interconnectedness of our world, and the fact that tragedies rarely follow neat, morally satisfying scripts. While the desire to find meaning and purpose in the midst of chaos is understandable, attributing natural disasters to divine punishment risks oversimplifying complex issues and ignoring the very real human suffering involved. Section 7. Picking up the pieces, rebuilding more than homes. As the smoke cleared and the flames died down, the true extent of the devastation became horrifyingly clear. Homes were reduced to rubble, businesses were gone. The landscape was scarred, a stark reminder of the inferno's fury. The task ahead seemed insurmountable, but amidst the ashes a spirit of resilience began to emerge. Neighbors helping neighbors, volunteers flocking to the affected areas, offering food, water, and a helping hand. Celebrities using their platforms to raise awareness and funds for relief efforts. The human spirit, it seemed, was not so easily extinguished. But rebuilding would require more than just bricks and mortar. It would require a reckoning with the factors that contributed to the disaster, both natural and man-made. It would require a renewed focus on fire prevention and mitigation strategies, on sustainable urban planning, and on addressing the very real threat of climate change. The fires may have exposed Hollywood's vulnerabilities, but they also revealed its capacity for compassion and its ability to use its influence for good. As the community came together to rebuild, there was a sense that perhaps this tragedy could serve as a catalyst for positive change. Section 8. A lesson in humility, Hollywood's reality check. Hollywood is built on illusion, a carefully constructed facade of glamour and invincibility. The fires, in their raw, destructive power, ripped away that facade, revealing the fragility that lay beneath. It was a stark reminder that even the most powerful industry in the world is not immune to the forces of nature, to the consequences of our actions, or to the whims of fate. Perhaps this forced confrontation with its own mortality was exactly what Hollywood needed, a healthy dose of humility, a reminder that for all its wealth and influence, it is still subject to the same laws of nature, the same uncertainties of life as the rest of us. The fires served as a potent symbol of the fleeting nature of fame, fortune, and even life itself. They forced a reassessment of priorities, a shift in perspective. The things that truly matter, family, community, resilience, were thrown into sharp relief against the backdrop of loss and devastation. In the aftermath of the inferno, there was a palpable sense of vulnerability, a recognition that the things we often take for granted can vanish in an instant. It was a humbling experience, one that had the potential to foster a deeper understanding of our place in the world and our responsibility to each other. Will Hollywood ever learn? The lights are back on in Hollywood, the cameras are rolling, the red carpets are being vacuumed. The show must go on, but will things ever be the same? Will Hollywood learn from the ashes or rebuild its gilded cage? The optimist in me sees a glimmer of hope, a community shaken to its core, forced to confront its own mortality. Even after the most devastating fire, there is always the possibility of renewal.